filtration.
This is our cell culture lab. So this is where we culture
I'm so appreciative for this
mammalian
building.
cells. So we grow
My
like
two,
mouse,
if you walk by the back, those two back
cells,
walls, those modules, those are
we
mine.
also have a human
Those are all my
cancer cell
industrial
line,
stuff.
breast cancer cell line that we grow. And so this is a big part of the pharmaceutical industry because on two levels. One is sometimes we're making drugs that we want to kill cells, right? Like chemotherapy drugs. And so those drugs are tested on cells to see what happens, you know. But then most of the drugs that we take, we don't want them to kill cells, right? That would be a no-go. And so a big part of the drug testing process, whether or not it's chemotherapy or regular medication, is to test it on cells and see what happens. So our students, yeah, every time you open that door. So our students learn how to maintain and grow and pass and freeze down and all that, and do assays with mammalian cells. So this is a biosafety cabinet. So this should be the same environment as what a clean room would be, just in a hood. And so you would sit down and just work in this space. And you have to have the sash. If I pull the sash up too high, it'll tell me that, you know, it's too high. So it takes some time to get used to that as well. But I'm going to start the counter. Let's see, I think I just woke it up. Oh, there it goes. Okay. All right, so it's counting. So I can see on the bottom left hand it's counting, and so we're not getting any counts, and that's because you know, it's sterile. But if I come in here and start doing stuff and move my hands around, I can usually get it to start counting some. Yeah, see, I got one. That usually gets them going. You know, see, I can make it count. But you can see it's pretty, you know, it's pretty sterile. Mm-hmm. So the big thing about working in a hood like this is, you know, they'll have like open flask, like, so the flask look like this, and you have the media in there, and they'll have to open the lids and add media and stuff. You know, you learn, like, don't pass your hand over it. Don't just leave the lid sitting on the table.
Never go over top.
Yeah. When you open, like, the pipettes that we use, these long serological pipettes, you know, open it in a way that you never actually touch the pipette with your hands. You know, just all that kind of stuff, what we call aseptic technique. We spend a lot of time focusing on that with the students because in an environment like this, it's not quite as costly as it would be in the clean room to contaminate something, but it costs the company time. And if you get a contamination or something, you can't just throw that out and start over again. There has to be an investigation. There's like all this documentation that is involved, and it's time consuming, and that becomes costly in that effect. So, so students come out of this program kind of already knowing and understanding the importance of the aseptic technique and documentation, and why, you know, why it's so important that they do the things that we're telling them to do when they go to industry. It really lowers the learning curve, you know, and the training time for them once they get there. So.
I had a supervisor that was working at Thermo Fisher real quick. He come to me and says, "Tony, I need a job." I'm like, "You're already a supervisor at Thermo Fisher." It was Catalytica back then. He said, "I left for the day. I had an employee that didn't document the sheet, and he didn't document that employee. They both got fired. Because when you go into the orientation, these are the rules. This is what you do. You veer off the rules and the guidance, and guess what? They did it to themselves." He said, "I know, I did it to myself." He was there almost 8 years and got fired. I said, "Man, no support, but you know, the EPA and FDA is controlling it. Every document, every signature, you got to be done." He knew it, but that's the case. I know you guys got to
Yeah,
go.
it's 10:45. So we
Right
did
on
it.
the
We
money.
made it.
We did it.
You mad at it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you going through this process.